Why did World War II start? To answer this question, I'm going to review a recent history of the Europe. Contrary to what you might think as an American or a European, capitalism is not inherently attached to the Europeans' lives. Capitalism was invented in 1800s, and the way that it was invented was through what we know as enclosure acts. So essentially, prior to 1800s, we have these peasants who are living on these lands called communal lands, and just like anywhere else in the world, they have some rights to this land even though they don't own it. And under those rights, they could go to the jungle and cut off the woods from the trees, bring it home, burn it, and use the fruits and vegetables on the land as they saw fit for their own needs. What happened is that as the Industrial Revolution and the new means of production other than the human labor took place, essentially these lords and kings and queens, they realized that, we no longer depend as we did in the past on the labor of the people. So they went on, they kicked out these poor people off the land, and they told them that now if you want to live on it, you have to pay us rent. And these poor people, because they couldn't afford it, they told them that, well, you can go work in a factory that we have created and you get the wages from there and you come back and you pay for your rent. This is how capitalism came to be born and something that today we know of. When that happened and the Industrial Revolution took place, people across Europe, they realized that their rights and their lives is threatened. The rights that for thousands of years their forefathers and themselves they have been experiencing. This is where they came to consensus across the borders that there's only one way for them to try to combat and offset what these powerful families have over them. And that was to wage a socialist movement with each other across these borders. This is where these European powers from Germany, the Britain, and America, they came together and they put this conspiracy plot together so they can ravage the entire population of the Europe, whether it was in Germany or Britain or anywhere else as you know of. And this is how they put a stop to this birth that could potentially turn their lives and history as we know around happen. Why am I telling you this? Because the way that our world is going, and we have come to understand how across the borders of each country that we live in, we are divided for no reason, and we are held back from essentially being able to claim our rights, as this is not an isolated case. And the riches and those bourgeoisies, they are aware of this. And now they want to create another World War III so they can subdue all of us and suppress us and push us back into history again. This is partially also why they also want to make a comeback for their religious values. Take a country of Israel, for example, or United States, for example, or even for that sense, Iran, for example, where you might think that all these countries are religious. What is happening in all these three countries are a major hub in the world. People are losing their beliefs. They're becoming atheists. And this is a threat to the global world order. They don't want that to happen. This is why you have this October 7, 2023 resurgence where the Israeli government itself conspires with these foreign recruits that they put together to attack Israel. Why? So they can create a fear factor among the Israelis. Essentially it's a cult telling them, listen, you know what, if you set your foot outside of the border of Israel, they're going to get you. So if you let us do what we're doing and shut your mouth, we're going to be able to handle this. Essentially, they have hijacked these poor people. And that's the stance for everywhere. There's only one solution for us, and that is to put aside these beliefs that cause our misery in the first place. The Europeans, in the aftermath of World War II, they realized how dangerous playing around and fooling with the Christian ideology it is. So they formed the European Union, and now they live with each other in harmony. However, what is criminal about these people is that they understood that now they can implement the same religious fraction and fragmentation ideology of Judaism versus Islam in another part of the world. The same thing that fed the machine of the Nazis, that was Judaism versus Christianity, Now they're implementing the same thing in another part of the world in an organized manner so they can make money off of it. And throwing the Jews and the Muslims like gladiators in front of another so they can feed their own arm manufacturing companies and making a hell of money out of it, while increasing negative energy and pain and suffering on the mankind. Take the case of Saudi Arabia, who also at the same time, while it claims to be a proctorate of Islam and religious values, at the same time has connected with, Israel simultaneously as well with America. Essentially, they're the devil's advocate. They're feeding the both sides of the game. We're not getting anywhere with these ideologies. We're left alone, my brothers and sisters. The politicians across the world are all in one team, and we are all in one other team. If we don't put aside our differences, there's no future for us. Perpetually, they're using our own psychology to create a rift among us and make sure they can control and have a grip on us.